David Pollack is one of the best voices covering college football. See Ball, Get Ball is the name of his podcast via our friends at Believe, and the former Georgia star is kind enough to join us right now as there is a lot going on in the college football world. David, appreciate the time as always. How you been?
I've been good, man. How you been, Zach?
Well, I've been fantastic. Appreciate you coming on. So I got to start you off with James Franklin getting fired at Penn State. There's a lot of names to emerge in the last 3 days, from Matt Rule to Kurt Cignetti, Eli Drinkwitz. Even today, Joe Brady is now the betting favorite. Is there a name out there that you immediately go, okay, it's fair to be speculated, and I could see him eventually taking the job down the road?
I think there's several of them. I even think Manny Diaz makes a lot of sense after spending some time there and what he's doing at Duke and his energy and who he is. Here's the thing, though. All those names you mentioned, Zach, it's cool, but let me give you a few names. How about Kirby Smart? How about Ryan Day? How about Kalen DeBoer? How about Dan Lanning? That's the list of guys since 2022 who has more wins than James Franklin. So, like, you're getting rid of a guy and paying him a lot of money to go away. I get it, you're disappointed, but a lot of money to go away when this guy won at a high level at Penn State, at an elite level. And so I just think it's interesting. Like, now it's about, okay, are the young up-and-coming guy really going to light your fire? Is that really going to be what Penn State fans says? Okay, that's what we're going to go win a national championship with? Or is it a proven guy? But either way, when you're taking the Penn State job, you understand. You better get a guy that realizes and understands how to win without the most talent, because you're in a league with Ohio State and Oregon and Michigan. Like, you're not going to be the brand. Like, so the Matt Rule obviously is developed. He's a Penn State alum, obviously has ties to the AD back to Temple. So that makes, a lot of sense. I think Matt Campbell fits that bill where he's built, in the Big 12, he's done that with a lesser roster and has consistently won and been good. You can't tell me that Elko or Kiffin or Cignetti are making that move when they're all in the playoff hunt. Like, I don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. But obviously Penn State made the decision. They made the decision to win national championships, and now who they going to get that's going to fill that void? I don't see a name that I'm hearing about. Matt
Campbell's an interesting one, and I think he's a damn good football coach. Here comes the but, though.
The but.
Something that scares me. In 2021, when it didn't go his way, there was a reporter that asked him, I remember the press conference because I lost my mind over it. And he goes, the expectation was to win the Big 12 championship. He goes, that wasn't my expectation. My expectation, he said something along the lines of just be the best version that we can be. When you have now a program like Penn State where it's clear that expectation, Pat Kraft laid it out, is to go win a national championship, I just wonder if Campbell, who's a good coach, a damn good coach, is the right fit for the pressure of that job.
And that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Like, whoever takes this job, you just got to realize walking in, like, being good ain't good enough.
Yeah.
Like, this is a job that the AD talked about. The expectation is to win national championships. That's not a normal job. Like, here's another thing, Zach. How about we stop putting 10-year contracts on these suckers? That would be a great idea. Like, that's stupid business. Like, you would not do that in other businesses. Don't do it as a coach, man. Like, overpay them for the years. Make them prove what they are. Keep them hungry. Like, it's always a struggle to keep your guy. And then now your buyouts are $50 million, or Jimbo Fisher, $72 million. Like, it does. And it worked out for A&M, and they got their guy. And it probably wasn't the sexiest guy, but who did they hire? Just for reference, a guy that had been there, a defensive coach, a great defensive coordinator. Manny Diaz had been there, a great defensive coach, a defensive coordinator, got that energy. So I think he's a guy to look out for.
Yeah, and now David Pollack here with us. Great job, obviously, covering college football. See Ball, Get Ball, does a great job on Believe. You've known him for years covering college football. But when we just get back to James Franklin, I will be the first one to tell you, I was not the biggest fan of James Franklin, and that's an understatement. The guy is a very good coach. My question just to you, because it sounds like you think that Penn State should have kept him, why did you think that maybe one day he could get them to the top of the mountain? Because he's been close the last few years, but hasn't been able to win those big games.
I think sometimes we say, like, Ryan Day was close to the mountain, and sometimes he didn't get there. Well, he got there, right? Like, here's the thing. You got to be close to the mountaintop to climb to the top of the mountain. You got to climb halfway up the mountain, 3/4 of the way up the mountain, and 80% up the mountain before you get there. Like, it took Kirby Smart some time, obviously, to get there, too. Listen, do I believe James Franklin was a guy that was going to go on and win a bunch of natties? I don't. I don't. Like, if you're asking me that, Zach, and I have to be honest, I don't. But I'm just not in the business of firing one of the most successful coaches and giving $50 million away to do it. Like, that just doesn't, to me, make a lot of sense. Now, listen, they can prove us all wrong. Like, you might have said the same thing about Jimbo Fisher. Now, the culture was absolutely toxic with Jimbo Fisher at A&M, and they had to make that move and do something. I don't feel like the culture was toxic at Penn State. It's not my decision, not my money. I'm a cheap person too, Zach, so I'm not giving away $50 million if I don't have to, bro.
Yeah, and one more thing on Manny Diaz, just because I'm a Temple alum. I will say he never lost a game at Temple when Manny Diaz was hired by Pat Kraft because he went back to Miami. But all kidding aside, it didn't work out at Miami. It's working out at Duke. Why do you think if he got that big job like Penn State, you could see him be a vastly different coach than what we saw at Miami?
Because he's learning from what he's doing. Like, Manny Diaz was like, wake up and blitz. Like, that was his answer to everything, right? Like, and I liked it. He's on the practice field and he's in cleats, right? Like, and he's intense. Well, as you get older, man, you get more experience. You learn how to relate to kids a little bit better. So I think that he's grown into that position. He's more comfortable. He knows how to coach it now. He's coached as a defensive coordinator. He sees it from all the different angles now as a head coach. So I think it's just the experience, and I think I got a lot of trust in Manny and who he is. I think he's a grounded person. He's still very aggressive, but he does it in a sounder way than he used to do it. And I just think he's grown to the point now where if I'm a major job opening, I have no problem hiring him.
All righty, David Pollack, before we get to the games this weekend, I got to go off one more coach who's probably on the way out if you read USA Today, and that's Billy Napier. I know how this is going to go because it went the same way last year when there was speculation that Billy Napier could be on the way out. What do you think the chances are that Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss and go to the Swamp? Because that's going to be the number one name speculated for that job.
I think it's going to be the number one name. I think if this happened 4 years ago, I think it's a done deal. Like, you could write it in ink. Lane would be gone. But knowing Lane for all these years, man, and I was at Ole Miss last week, like, just he's grown so much and he loves where he's at so much. And so I think it would take a lot for him. You know, his son's there with him now and in high school. And so I just think it would take a lot to leave a job that you're going to win, bro. Like, he's got an elite GM. He's got an elite atmosphere there with Ole Miss. Like, he's winning at a high clip. And the game changing has been the biggest – Lane's been one of the biggest beneficiaries. Like, Lane's not the guy that's going to go kick the curb and go beat the pavement for recruiting. Like, that's not Lane's MO. Now, Lane takes guys and he builds team really well, and he gets to know his guys, but he wasn't always chasing the next recruiting class. Like, that wasn't really his thing. Now it's really simple. Like, hey, I got some dollars. Like, you want to sign, you sign. Like, build out a roster, and Lane gets to go coach. And so, man, I don't think at this point in his life he's going to leave. Now, Drinkowich is a different story, and I think Eli will be a name for both Penn State and for Florida that would do a really, really good job, and I love his style. But it'd be funny, or not funny, but it'd be very ironic, wouldn't it? Like, Eli Drinkowich, if he went to Penn State, again, he knows how to win at a lower brand than the highest brands in the league, right? He's done a good job. He knows how to poke, which I love. And he could bring Bo Pabula, a great quarterback, back to Penn State, which is just, I mean, just to think about it, obviously, is intriguing.
Yeah, and that's a name that I've really jumped on for. I haven't thought about Florida, but it makes a ton of sense. I think John Summer also could be a name to watch for Florida, or even Alex Golish, who beat them earlier in the year. But Drinkwitz, I think, could mesh very well with Pat Kraft, and also the personality that he has. I not only would it mesh in Penn State, I also think it meshes down in the Swamp.
100%. Like, he's got a really cool personality, but like he enjoys being the underdog. He enjoys poking at people. And I love that. Like, I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, he's very comfortable, doing things that aren't necessarily comfortable for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, I got to do it this way. And Drink's like, I'm going to do it my way. He's had a bunch of turnover on his staff. You see his guys get hired all over the place. He fills those roles. NIL, and he's really done a great job with NIL and evolving with the times with the transfer portal. And so he's definitely a guy that has definitely proven he's a really, really good football coach. And maybe if he had the bigger brand and the bigger budget, maybe that's somewhere where he could go and he could be very successful.
All right, get into some of the games this weekend, David Pollack. Ole Miss and Georgia, one that you're going to have a keen eye on. I think Ole Miss, it's weird to say because Ole Miss is ranked higher, but they're the underdog. I think that Ole Miss is going to pull off the upset this week, and I'm rocking and rolling with Trinidad Chambliss.
I'm not on board with you. Now, listen, from what you've seen with Georgia, I get it. Because, my God, are they going to be Rocky Balboa their whole life? Like, you got to taste some blood in your mouth before you walk forward and start winning? Like, they've started slow. But here's the factors, I think, going against Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat them last year, and they beat them bad.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of embarrassing the way they kicked the crap out of them in the trenches. You've had that to point to. And I think one thing, Georgia at home obviously is a different animal. You played Auburn last week, which is so similar offensively. Like, such a variation of the same offense, the same tempo. I think that helps them coming into this week. Ole Miss's defense is not as near as good as it was a year ago. And I think because of that, Gunner and company will have more success. We'll keep the football. We'll put drives together. And I think Georgia wins at home.
LSU Vanderbilt, I don't think it's flying under the radar, but it may be nationally. What LSU offense shows up this week?
The one that stinks, that shows up every week. I mean, LSU's offense ain't good. Like, to quote the great philosopher Reese Davis, like, I'm always like, how do you say somebody sucks on television? He'd be like, they're ungood. And I'm like, well, there you go. They're just ungood, man. Now, when you watch them, here's what I'll say about LSU. One thing I loved was that they found their go-to weapon last week that they're going to continue to do. Trey'Dez Green at tight end is 6'7", 6'8". Like, he's a matchup nightmare. Like, so when does Nussmeier understand? Like, I'm not the guy that was a year ago that had to carry a team. I'm the guy that has to be carried defensively. Like, this is one of the best defenses in the country. I got to understand, I can't make mistakes. He threw an interception at the 1. They fumbled at the 1 last week against South Carolina, and they still won. Like, ride your defense, use the big tight end for matchup nightmares, throw him the football at will, try to run. Don't make mistakes. And I know that sounds weird because coming into the year, Zach, we were like, Nussmeier, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Okay, we're not there right now. It's a new world. So I need a game manager, Nussmeier, that doesn't make mistakes, that's not thrown into double coverage, that's not turning the football off, that wins situational football because they've been, they've just not been good when it comes to offense and scoring points. It's just been ugly.
Tennessee, Alabama. Alabama now, people are back in. I still think Josh Heupel is one of the more underrated coaches in the country. How do you see this SEC tilt playing out on Saturday night?
I mean, you talk about Bama, and you just talk about, like, the last 3 games, man. Like, and it just continues. Like, 3 ranked opponents in a row. To get up consistently and to win. And this seems like, again, like, okay, you can't do it, right, Zach? Like, you can't continue to get up and continue to play and win. Yeah, you can, because Ty Simpson, that's why. I'll fight you, Zach, if you want to fight, about he's in the conversation for the best player in the country.
Yeah.
Like, and he drives me as a defensive guy absolutely nuts because I watch every game with the philosophy is I want to stop you, and here's how I would do it. That sucker's patient. He feels pressure so well. He scrambles when he needs to, when he understands. He doesn't get hooked on names. Like Bernard's his guy, but he didn't have to throw it to Bernard. Last week he had 3 catches. Like, Ryan Williams had 0, and he still makes it work and made one of the best throws on 4th and 7 you'll ever see in your life to Brooks on a little corner route with a guy trailing him. Like, I just have seen enough with Ty Simpson. Now, Joey Aguilar and company are going to score. That defense for Tennessee is not what they were a year ago. Here's the only way Tennessee can go to Bama and win. The only way is if they can get sacks, which they're good at. They're one of the best in the country. I think they're 26 sacks. They're the second in FBS. Like, the right tackle for Alabama is a freshman. Can you exploit that and get Simpson on the ground and then play zone coverage and not have to blitz? Like, if you can do that, they can hang in the game. But I just think the way Alabama's playing, them being at home, I think is a big difference than having to go to Knoxville. You got to go to Knoxville, bro. You better pack a lunch. So I got the Tide.
And then also their defense is just forcing turnovers right now at Alabama.
Yeah. Hubbard,
in
good
spots.
Lord, he's the guy.
Yeah,
wow,
and the health of Jam Miller is something to watch for this one. All righty, here's a game. You could tell me 10,000 different ways it plays out, and I wouldn't call you crazy for either of them. USC, Notre Dame, both these football teams, I still don't know what they are, but we're going to get some answers on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty confident. Like, I'm a nerd, Zach, and I watch a lot of tape. I have nothing else to do in life. I'm a loser, but that's fine. But, like, I've seen enough to tell you this. last year's offense at Notre Dame was really, really hard to stop. This year's offense is better. And it's not Riley Leonard and his physicality, but C.J. Carr's spinning the bean. Like that dude, he makes 2 or 3 throws a game too where I'm like, okay, that was good. Like he's seeing the field well. He's spreading it around. I mean, I think people forget, people look at Notre Dame and they're like, why are they ranked? They suck. And I'm like, bro, they lost by 4 total points to 2 top 5 teams in the country.
Bingo.
And one was an extra point, which you're like, that's bull crap. But back-to-back games, 300 yards. I love the way Malachi Fields' size. I love the way, obviously, Price and Love, the way they run the football. But when you look at this offense, Pollen goes over 100 yards. You're getting your tight end involved. Like, I think this is an offense to watch out for. If the defense can keep coming on, because they turn the ball over. They have 11 picks by 8 different guys. Like, they do that at a high level. So watch out for Notre Dame. They win this game, they're in the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, think about that. Like, and I know everybody buried them and said they were off, and people might be upset about that, but they're going to win the rest of their games, and they're going to be very much in this.
Just one more thing on the SEC. Obviously, you praised Alabama a lot. Are they your pick to win the SEC, or you go elsewhere?
I go Ty Simpson until otherwise. Like, it's just what I've seen from him on a consistent level. And listen, there's other teams that, like John Mateer, when healthy, is that dude, and he could absolutely give them heck. A&M and those receivers. Man, here's the thing about A&M. Like, they are so hard to stop because it's the short passes that can go long with Craver and Concepcion. But then you got a QB that they haven't had to run Marcel Reed. They will. When they need to, they'll absolutely run him. And the defense is like this. Like, it's ticking up and up and up. They started the season a little bit rocky. Get the third down on Mike Elko. Like, you might as well pray. Like, because it is so creative, so good. They know how to take advantage of every protection. You'll have 6 guys blocking. You'll rush 4, and 2 guys are hitting the quarterback. It's like rush hour. It's like, which one of y'all kicked me? Like it's incredible the way he manufactures that. You're right. So A&M, it wouldn't surprise me either. Those two, but John Mateer getting back healthy, I think too, will, because listen, he was healthy enough to play, but you watch that ball come out, that ain't John Mateer. Like, and Alabama's defense it's not like it used to be. It's not a steel curtain by any stretch. So they could get in some shootouts with those two teams.
Who is the best team in the country, in your opinion?
Okay, so Zach, this is a great question, because if you're asking me who the number 1 team in the country is, we do it on our show every week. It's Miami. What Miami has done, they're the best team in the country. Like, because to me, you take who have you beaten, right? Have you lost? What is your ceiling? Like, what is the eye test? How good do I think you are? They're checking a lot of those boxes, moving forward, because they've ran a gauntlet that's pretty impressive. I'm impressed with what they've done. The line of scrimmage, man, they got a bunch of guys that don't like people. I love that. Like, I love people that don't love people, right? Like, that are flying around, have bad intentions, or maulers. Like, their right tackle, man, like, dude's 6'8", 360. I think his bone structure is Brontosaurus. Like, that's his bone structure. Like, they're big, huge maulers. They're so good. Now, Indiana's 2, Ohio State's 3. Some people might have that different. I have a common opponent with Indiana and Illinois, or with Illinois and Indiana, and Ohio State and Indiana. Indiana literally said, go sit down at the little kids' table and beat them by 50. Like, and it was kind of a game. But here's the thing. All that being said, that's the rankings. That's how I have it. If you ask your boy, Zach, to break out his wallet and put down everything that I own and everything that I have, I'm sliding that to Columbus, Ohio. Like, I'm putting that with the Buckeyes, because I think of where they can go in their defense, and obviously their resume hasn't been the most impressive, though. It's not as impressive as Indiana's or as Miami's up until this point.
He's David Pollack. Make sure you check him out. See Ball, Get Ball, one of the best in the business. We can talk at college football. Check him out via Believe, our friends there. David, great stuff as always. Can't thank you enough.
Zach, you the man, dog. Thanks, brother.